grade algebra. It's day 20. This is my last video. It's a little bittersweet, I'm not gonna lie. On this one, on your AMI, it's gonna say solving radical equations, I believe is what it says. What that really should say is solving quadratic equations, because we're still dealing with quadratics. We're just solving them in a different way. And we're solving this one by taking square roots, okay? So on these, we're gonna try to get our x squared by itself. So we're gonna solve this like we do a normal equation and get x squared by itself. So I'm gonna start off by subtracting 1 from both sides. So 7x squared equals 28. Then I'm still working on getting x squared by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 7. And x squared is equal to 4. 28 divided by 7 is 4. And then I'm going to use square roots to solve this because I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Now whenever I take the square root of an x squared, they kind of cancel each other out. They're like inverse operations. So that square root and that squared is canceled out, and all I'm left with is x. And then I'm going to take the square root of 4. Now you can't forget, this is kind of like with our other quadratics. If you take the square root of a number, it's always plus or minus whatever the square root is. Because the square root of 4 is 2, but I can do positive 2 times positive 2 and get 4. But I can also do negative 2 times negative 2 and still get 4. So my answer, and this, if I were to graph this quadratic, it would cross the x-axis at both positive 2 and negative 2. All right, let's look at this example. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to get x by itself. So in this equation, I want to start by adding 7 to both sides. So 8x squared equals 200. Okay, still working on getting that x by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And type that in your calculator, 200 divided by 8, and that's 25. So I'm still doing the same thing, taking the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is just x, and the square root of 25 is plus and minus 5. So this equation crosses the x-axis at both positive 5 and negative 5. And then I have one more example. 3 minus 4x squared equals negative 85. Okay? And this one's going to end up being a decimal, so don't freak out. It's okay. Still going to work on getting x squared by itself, so I'm going to subtract this positive 3 from both sides. So negative 4x squared equals negative 88. Okay? I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And negative divided by a negative gives me a positive, so 22. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is just x. And the square root of 22 is 4.7. So 4.6904 blah, 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 blah. We're going to round that up. Remember, we're taking the square root, so it's going to be plus or minus. I'm actually going to change my equal sign to an approximately because I've rounded this 4.7. So this graph of this equation is going to cross the x-axis at approximately positive 4.7 and negative 4.7. All right, day 20. Hope you guys are doing well. I love you all.